We have a couple of partners who are going to be talking about their experience as business owners and everything today. First up, we're going to hear from Ryan Mason with BizBuzz, and then we're also going to hear from Joseph Luckett with Affluent Solution Group. I know that there's a lot to talk about. Ryan, I know you want to get right into it. Let's do it. Let's hear your story. And whenever you guys want to share your screen, there you go. Yeah.
That's- All right, perfect. So, hey guys, thank you. I apologize for being late. Usually we try to not to start off the day like that, but I want to thank you guys for just joining today, and hopefully my story and my transition from one business that is completely different than the other business will help you guys. Okay, so again, thank you for joining. I'm super excited. So let's actually jump in, guys. All right. So I have a question for you guys. So right now, do we have any sports fans, diehard sports fans in the call today? So I really want to make sure that this story resonates. I see you, Joe, Andrew. If you are a sports fan, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I want to see what we get.
Yeah. So pop in a yes or pop in like what sport you're into.
What's your
MLB,
favorite team?
NFL, NLS.
Go Dogs. Okay, I see that.
Uh,
Lakers. Oh, Bronny. All right, perfect. So my biggest
Shopping.
dream.
Virginia says
Hey, that is
shopping.
really funny. Hey, I understand. So my biggest dream growing up was actually to play football in the NFL, and I really wanted to follow in my father's footsteps. So for years, I've proved to myself as one of the premier high school players in Alabama, and I want to give you this background so that you understand, just the build up before the transition from one company to the other, and how that actually, stayed constant, and some of the things and some of the processes and systems. Okay, so in 2011, I had actually broken several state records playing high school football, and of course that was one of the biggest things that my father always told me. He said, "Listen, you got to play, perform. That's one thing that I want you to do. If you want to go to the next level, you got to perform." So I felt like I did just that. One of my stats at the Nike Combine, I actually ranked in the top 3% nationwide for the 5-10-5 dream. 5-10-5 drill. But, one of the biggest things is the scouts at that time, they really counted me out for a very uncontrollable reason. So for top colleges, I was undersized. I played the linebacker position, and most of those guys looked like a mannequin in the store, and they're about 6'5", and they're walking muscles basically. So I was a walking muscle, but I was about 5'11". So that was the difference for me. But mainly most colleges at the time, they pretty much wrote me off, and they said I was undersized. So after high school, I was actually fortunate enough to be offered a full scholarship, but by only two colleges. I ultimately decided to accept an offer to attend the University of North Alabama, which was a small Division II school. Okay, so while not the level of competition that I had hoped for, I remained optimistic about my future, and I wanted to just go out and perform again. So I wanted to do exactly what my father, told me that it was going to take to get to the next level. So after that, what began as the next opportunity for me to fulfill my lifelong dream actually turned out to be more different than expected. Almost 3 years into my collegiate career, I actually faced uncontrollable obstacles that really kept me sidelined and unhappy. So my future in football looked dim, and the chances of me ever making it to the NFL was extremely low. I was very honest with myself. The demands of the student athlete life that I was, dealing with every single day left me torn, and I eventually had to make the biggest and toughest decision of my life, which was actually stepping out on faith and leaving the game of football. So for me, obviously, I don't know if you guys know of many people, but most people who get off of a scholarship, or who opt out of getting on the scholarship, they have usually screwed up somewhere. So I was battling with that a lot from my friends and my family, and that was something that really, really played on my heart, so much. So previously relying on my athleticism and raw talent to pay for my college degree, I was actually quickly hit with financial demands of college. So through my hard work and perseverance, I was actually able to land another full scholarship later on for academics, making my transition into the business world so much smoother. So while attending UNA, I was actually pushed by a few key people, some of my professors, um, people around me. They pushed me and they helped me create something revolutionary. So with their knowledge and assistance, I actually launched a groundbreaking company in 2015 that actually took the luxury shoe industry by storm. All right, and that company is called Lux Brand Luxury Shoelaces. So my new company, obviously, here I am in college as a person who just has a ton of energy, who knows nothing about football at all. My new company struggled at first, and I did several Kickstarter campaigns, and I failed to reach those goals on several occasions. But eventually, Lux Brand actually became a huge success. So my luxury shoelaces, I was able to take that upon graduating from college and landed on Good Morning America, which is the #1 show in the country. I also was able to land on NFL Network. Also in Foot Locker stores. The first stores that we got into were actually in Canada, by the way. So that's a really good thing for you guys, Canadians. Andrew, I see you. But from there also, I was able to actually strategically place my shoelaces on about 40 different celebrities and NFL players. Some are loved and hated now, but some being, DJ Khaled, Kevin Gates, Antonio Brown, Jameis Winston, Marquise Goodwin, Devin McCourty, the McCourty twins. They were actually worn 2 years in a row in the Super Bowl by the McCourty twins. So we had a lot of success, there. So basically, after that, for the first time in my life, and actually in a long time, I had truly found happiness. And in 2016, I took another huge step forward in my business career, launching BizBuzz Digital, which is my digital agency. All right, and that's what kind of brought me to Vendasta, and that's what has landed me here today. But out of all things that I've learned in business thus far, there is one thing that has stayed constant, and that's the power of people, process, and platform. Okay. And today I'm really here to talk to you about the power of process. All right. So I don't know if you guys know this, but the way this really works in my philosophy is the right people. All right. So those A players, they use a process, a proven process. All right. And they also use platforms or software to perform those processes at scale. Okay. So that is the strategy and that is the methodology that has trickled over into every single business that I've ever dealt with. Okay. So I do have another question for you guys. All right. And I want you to type yes in the chat. Have you ever had to listen to yourself repeat the same instructions to your partners or employees or coworkers over and over again? I see a lot of yeses. So this becomes extremely frustrating. And I know, yes, unfortunately, right? I know this is something that we all deal with as even, as CEOs, as employees, as, just coworkers and everything. So, it doesn't have to be this way. So picture this. You need Jane to take over some of your tasks because you're moving on to another project. All right, it all seems simple enough to you, but there's a lot of moving parts and plenty of room for error. So there are email templates you've been using for months and pages of guidelines to stick to. You explain the general idea. Sorry, guys. Did my screen go out? Did my presentation go out?
Yeah, the screen just went out. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I don't know what just happened there.
That's all right. You can just relaunch the screen share.
Here we go.
And then if you're...
Mitchell joked about this earlier, and it happened.
Oh, Mitchell.
Ryan's one of the worst ones with technology for some reason. I don't know. Just bad connection.
I blame my internet. Here we go. We're about to
Wi-Fi. It's the Wi-Fi.
We're getting there. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. And Ryan, I don't know if you wanted to turn on your camera or not, but the camera wasn't on either. So if you want, just if
We
you
want
want
to
to
see the
check that out.
walking muscle.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. All right, we're almost back up, guys.
Yeah. Nice. So I know, Ryan, I really appreciate you sharing that story, and I'd be interested to hear, in the chat from everybody, have you had your own business before joining Vendasta, before your digital agency? Did you have a business before? Just pop yes or no. See, I think a lot of people, I'm seeing a ton of yeses. Um,
Yeah.
is this your first, second, third business? I'd be interested in that. A ton of yeses. So really appreciate you sharing that story, Ryan, because I think a lot of people who join Vendasta, maybe isn't that first business. So I just want to say thanks for that. But we can see your screen
Absolutely.
again, and we got your video there. So if you want to continue, we'd love to
Yeah.
hear more.
Perfect. Perfect. So, I was telling the story of Jane. So basically, let's say that, obviously you're getting ready to transition to a new objective or a new project. All right. And it seems easy to you, but it doesn't seem easy to Jane. So let's say there are, an email templates that you've been using for months and pages of guidelines to stick to. All right. So you explain the general idea to Jane and ask her to actually let you know if she has any questions before signing off. I'm guilty. This has happened a ton of times. All right. But this has happened before the right processes. Okay. So then a week later, you find out everything is a mess. So consistency of work is all over the place. And you ask yourself, how did that happen? So then you actually remember that there is no process, or at least to Jane's knowledge, there's no formal process to get things done the correct way. All right. So for you, the task was extremely simple, but for everyone else, it was confusing and it was a nightmare. So if you aren't already aware, our success depends on the quality of our process, okay? A thorough set of processes is actually what separates success from an embarrassment, or actually an embarrassment in your business. And so we've all been there. We've all made mistakes while we're in the middle of, doing things, or maybe on a call just like this, right? So it may sound boring and bureaucratic, but trust me, you don't want to know. I mean, you don't know the meaning of the word before until you've actually explained the same task over and over to different people. Okay, so the great thing is that you can actually create a process for pretty much anything. And as a rule of thumb, I usually recommend that if you have to do it more than 3 times, you should backtrack, you should record it, and you should actually turn it into a process. Okay. That's why processes are 100% necessary in the success of our roles. So also we got to think in mind, keep in mind the employees and other people that we're dealing with as well. So even sales, there's a sales process, right? So this is the exact sales process I've used to land some of the biggest deals to date. So it's broken down into 6 stages here. All right. You have the seller's activities, and then you also have the buyer's activities. And in each of these stages, there are things that the seller and the buyer must do in order to get to the next stage, okay? So let's focus on the seller's activities today, all right? In the box under each stage, there's a list of tasks. You can consider each of these tasks as mandatory, meaning I'm pretty sure on 100% of the time that each of these tasks needs to be hit before a client actually moves on to the next stage, okay? So if you look at the connecting and qualifying stage, the first task is to engage the prospects, all right? This task can be completed manually or completed by using automation. Our reps, for example, might decide to use a previously created email template to send maybe an automated email, or depending on the type of client they are actually servicing, they may decide to send you a manual DM through LinkedIn, okay? So either way, the task is a no-brainer to complete, okay? In your experience with processes, you might have seen a couple of different kinds of processes, right? So usually it's broken down into, I see there's 2 types in most cases, right? For one, it's the legal document style process, all right, which is filled with legal jargon that nobody wants to read. And then the other piece is maybe an incomplete process, okay? So both of them have the same common issue, which is usability. This brings me to my first point. The current assignee should write the process out, okay? And I want to give you a quote from a book that I've read, and it's called the Checklist Manifesto, all right? And basically, in this book, the author, he mentioned something that really stuck with me, all right? So bad checklists are vague and imprecise. They're too long, they're hard to use, they're impractical. They are made by desk jockeys with no awareness of the situation in which they are actually to be deployed. They treat the people using the tools as dumb, and they try to spell out everything, every single step of the way, okay? They turn people's brains off rather than turn them on, all right? And that was actually a quote by Daniel Borman, who actually wrote that book. But not only will it waste an unnecessary amount of time having someone learn a task from scratch so they can actually write the process, it will probably be a perfect how-to guide on how to make a quick job long-winded, okay? So we want to basically, just throw this idea out of, hey, we don't want to just make this long jargon, type of process that people are going to be bored with, right? So someone with experience doesn't just know a way to do it. They usually know the best way to do it. All right. So the best person to write up a process is currently the person who's performing those tasks. So to do that, you need to learn to write like you speak. So no one's going to be impressed by your ability to complicate the job. So it's best to actually write in the tone that you actually speak in. Okay. So here's two examples. All right. Option one. So I'm gonna basically read this here. So input the contents of documents 368 into the body field before depressing the send element. I don't know what's going on. I think it's my iPad.
Oh yeah, we just lost the slides again.
At least we can see you now.
Yeah. It's not my internet, it's my iPad.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's not much else to put, so I'll just continue on, guys. The second piece here is, I'll read it to you guys, but it says paste this, and then it has brackets and says content here, and hit send, all right? So if option one wasn't so laughable, it'd obviously be enough to bore anyone to quit their job. So option two is the clear winner, and in the comparison, because it's clear and concise, it's an easy thing to actually accomplish, all right? So the most efficient way I've actually found for creating a process is to record my screen while I do the task. So afterwards, I'll actually document the steps of what I did step by step. So this means I can naturally do the task, then properly write the process down and not slip up by trying to do too many things at once. So I know we've all probably tried to create processes and slipped up and forgot things, have had to come back and keep doing things over and over again. So once I've actually got the draft done, I'll actually check if it's concise or if I've overlooked anything, okay? So I'll screenshot the video and annotate things using maybe some type of note-taking software. I use Google Keep and Google Drive a lot, but then I'll actually send it over to the person who needs to follow it with the original video attached, okay? So either by sitting next to them or the video call, or actually, video calling them, I'll be there while the assignee actually goes through the process, okay? So this has helped like really speed up the way that I do things. Also, I always make sure that I tell, let's say if my employee has found a new sales trick that is working, right? What I'll do is I'll just pretty much give him the same instructions, like, hey, let's record this, all right, let's annotate this, let's make notes on the videos, take screenshots and whatever you can, and let's put this in a project file or any kind of file, and then document that process. So at the top, you have a video that is gonna walk you through it step by step, and then at the bottom, you have the notes and the extra dialogue, okay? So after that, you're usually smooth sailing, all right? And there you have it. So for now, on your operational problems will usually be a result of unoptimized processes, okay? So the thing is here, it's something that is extremely simple. There's plenty of softwares out there. We've used Loom. We've also used, of course, Zoom as well. You got Google Meet. You have to be on an upper subscription to actually do the recording. But basically, once that process is done, you're able to, keep reiterating. And now when it comes to building your team, building your sales team, building any operational team, you have documented step-by-step processes that anyone, new hires or old hires, can actually come in and learn a new process right from there. All right, so that is the last thing, guys. And I really want to thank you guys for just attending. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know. I'm going to actually pop up my contact information in the chat here because my screen's not working. So I'm going to put that in the chat here just in case any of you guys want to grab it.
Yeah, pop it in the chat, and it would be great if you can get it back up on screen. A couple of people have been messaging me, but we do record these sessions and then we share them in the community for the other community members as well. So if you want to pop it on screen, that would be great as well. So what does everybody think? Any before we jump into and listen to Joe Luckett here, any feedback? Like, are any other partners investing in processes for their business? And one comment that I have, Ryan, is that I like how you talked about the two options. It could be very processy, legal kind of jargon, go to page this and this, copy and paste. But it sounds like you found more success just having that conversational tone, and just saying, hey, all right, here's very simple, copy this, paste it here, hit send. And I think that applies to, do you see that applying to marketing as well? Having more of a conversational tone and, and getting the message out there, just easy for people to understand and read. I'm wondering if there's a connection there.
Yeah, absolutely. So in most cases, I think naturally as humans, we want to be perfect. We just want to be perfect. And a lot of times, what I've had to do is sit back and understand you're never going to have a perfect business ever. I don't care what you're doing. If you feel like you're going to have a perfect business, you might as well quit now. Okay. So the thing is, when in the process of wanting to be perfect, we try to make everything like super precise. We overthink things, and that causes a lot of confusion, and even more confusion than we are usually aware of. So that's, my advice for that is just to be very, very, be very simple, get to the point, talk in your tone, write in your tone so that people can relate to it.
I'm seeing this question come up here. Mike from Market Pie and Jeff Moore have similar questions, I think. But Mike asks, what happens for the person that is changing their process a lot? And Jeff says, what process do you find yourself changing? So how do you balance that? Making a process, and then as things change, changing the process. I could see a little bit of fear of just making a process, because in this industry, we need to be agile and things are changing quite rapidly. So any
Right.
feedback on how do you manage that?
Sure. Yeah. So usually it's great to have a baseline. Okay. So, no process at all having a simple process is way, way better than having no process at all. Okay. So what happens is every single step of your business, we've done several things where maybe every 2 weeks or every month, we'll look at that process, figure out what has changed. The sales process usually changes a lot quicker than, any other processes and times, but even marketing, there's even processes for your processes, right? So when I look at these tasks that, we talked about earlier on in the chat, basically, let's see here, I'll put this, can you guys see my screen, the sales process up here?
Yep, we can see it there.
So even in this piece here, each step of the way, it has little micro tasks or micro processes that need to happen basically. All right. And what we'll find usually happens is, customer to customer basis, we would actually have to change that. Also, obviously post-pandemic and pre-pandemic, or which we're still in it, but, post-COVID and also in the middle of COVID, we've had to go and reiterate this process tons and tons of times, so in certain cases, depending on the situation, you would have to go back and actually change that and update that over and over again. But it's a lot easier when you have a guideline in place.
So having a foundational guideline that you're saying, and and then if changes need to be made. But another thing that I'm hearing is keep it simple. Simple is
Keep it simple.
powerful.
Exactly. Simple is
Nice.
very powerful. You know, I've been guilty of everything I just talked about. I've been guilty of, you know, basically writing the legal jargon, even though I'm not even I don't have a legal background. So, but it's just for me mentally, I was trying to be perfect, and that does not work, you know. So you burn a lot of time and energy trying to be that way. But simple is definitely the best way to be, because when you have a simple process, it's easy to follow. Usually, you know, you don't have to go back into, you know, and talk to your employees and say, you know, okay, guys, maybe I did make this overcomplicated. And in most cases, if you have a simple process, it leaves kind of no room for error.
Yeah. I really like this slide too, by the way, Ryan. You know, thinking about sellers' activities and buyers' activities, it really helps you think about what that buyer's experience is and what actions, you know, indicators of interest that you would want to see from them, or that you would expect them to take to move on to the next step. I think it's a great way to break things out. It's a great
I wish
process.
I had started with this. That's all I can say. I wish I had started with this, but I didn't. You know, it took years to get to streamline and get things like this. Now, in my case, now a lot of this stuff is automated because, you know, you want to get it to tight enough to where you can automate as much as possible. There's different platforms out there, but I mean, it just literally helps out a ton. For me, my process is so set up in a way that if I drop the ball, if I'm too busy, if I'm gonna miss something, I get notified several times by automated tasks of events that needs to happen within a certain time frame. And of course, I've had to go set this stuff up, but it allows me and also anybody else on my team to not drop the ball on different things, on different projects, on different tasks, because it becomes very hectic when you're growing a small team. You know, I remember when I had to literally, when I talk about process, when we got on Good Morning America, we had to set up. Yeah, it's so funny because I asked them about how many shoelaces I should be prepared to sell, and I gave a number, and they laughed their butt off. They said, "You're way over your head." So from there, I had to literally assemble a team of about 15 to 20 people in a matter of weeks. And if I didn't have a general understanding of processes, I would have been screwed. And it was still almost too much. So if I didn't understand the power of process and how to actually take a step back, figure out what are things that are going to be repeatable, what are the repeatable actions that I need to take, and document that at every step of the way, I would have been lost and I would have missed the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I really appreciate you sharing that and sharing your story, Ryan. Let's give it up for Ryan, everybody. Thanks, Ryan.
Sorry about the screen, guys.
Hey, it's all good.
I'm gonna throw my iPad away now.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, I'm seeing a few people kind of say, you know, that feeling like they're overthinking things. If somebody just wanted to chat, are you cool if they reach out to you at your email there?
Absolutely. Reach out. We'd love to have a conversation.
Nice. Or you can connect in the academy now. We're building out the academy, so you can connect in there too. So yeah. Anyways, thank you very much, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
So, all right, on to, you know, the our next partner presentation. Joseph Luckett, are you on the line? Where are you at?
I think I'm here.
Oh yeah, there you are. Tapping the camera. Yeah, I can see you. Cool. So, you know what? I think we're ready for your presentation. So, you know, looking forward to learning more about your business and how you got started, and you know what you're going to be talking about today. So, let's not take up any more time. Let's hear it.
Perfect. Let me get my presentation started. Share my screen. I'm not gonna have screen sharing problems like Ryan.
Hey, I remember, you know, this is our second week of chatting with, you know, Ryan and Mike and Mitchell, Wes, and Joe, who all just, you know, organically got together through the community and have been, you know, supporting each other and connecting, you know, on a regular basis. And so it's great to have fun like this. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Anyways,
No,
go ahead. Go ahead,
it's
Joe.
definitely great to be able to have an accountability group that we can share and feed off of each other's information. We're not in the same niche, so we're not competing. It's genuinely helping each other, and it's really been great to help take my business, and I think all of our businesses, to the next level. Like Andrew was saying, piece by piece, to be able to just go and do things. So, hey guys, my name is Joe Luckett. Today I'll be speaking to you about how to land international clients and how to land speaking gigs. So first off, I want to know who in the chat has actually done public speaking post-COVID and engaged in speaking engagements. Just give me a yes.
Pop a yes in there
no.
if you've been doing speaking engagements, or no, if you haven't either.
Good, good. And from those speaking engagements, how many of those have gotten paid for those speaking engagements or not paid for those speaking engagements?
So pop in paid if you got paid for them, or
Put
unpaid.
the dollar sign if you got paid.
Dollar sign, yeah.
Dollar sign,
Nice.
dollar sign. Good. I see that. But got a client. Perfect. Love the dollar signs. Love it. So today I'm going to go over how I ended up driving Uber full-time 60 hours a week to speaking and closing international deals post-COVID. I've had an interesting journey with my agency. I started my agency in 2012. I'm just a guy from LA. If you notice, I wear the same t-shirt, not just because it is nice weather outside in LA, but because why not wear my company brand all the time? I started Affluent Solution Group as soon as I got out of college in 2010. Had my master's, but it was a tough job market, so it was close to impossible to gain and get clients. So I went through the approach of reaching out to the small mom and pops on Indeed and finding companies that needed someone to do simple social media, digital marketing work for them to help them brand. I quickly realized the value I had and was able to scale to about 5 or 6 clients. And I realized it's the same thing a lot of agencies owners realize when you get to that point is I can't do this all by myself. So the first thing I did was get a nice office and hire some staff. Well, that actually backfired on me because my staff did a poor job. I did a poor job of hiring the right people and simply lost all my clients and basically lost my company. So in that process, I started driving Uber full time, about 60 hours a week. And probably to say, honestly, that's the easiest thing I've ever done for work in my lifetime because you just pick up, drop off, pick up and drop off. But I was able to talk to many people about, and I'm living in Los Angeles, people come from all over the world. And I was able to meet many different people, different CEOs, different business owners, because I drove the shift from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. So I did a lot of office drops off, a lot of airport drop offs. And the money I was making, I was like, wow, I'm making a lot more money doing a lot easier work than I was with my agency. What do I want to do with my life? And I decided I wanted to travel. To me, traveling and going around, you know, it seemed like it didn't make sense, seemed like it was a hard thing to do. And I was simply scared to go back and start my agency again. And how do I do this? And I remember, and I saw an ad on Instagram that said agency in a box. You sell, we fulfill. And when I saw that ad, I was like, you know what, let me try this thing out, you know, because I need help with the fulfillment part. The sales part is not hard for me. So then I got a call from Ryan. He may be over there, maybe not, in Vendasta, and got some really good tips on how Vendasta can help me scale rather than being on the service side of things to switching over the software side of things. When I did that, that helped me a lot and helped me understand how to keep my clients in a simple database. And I started off simply with just website hosting through Vendasta, transferring all the clients whose website I was hosting and put them on the Vendasta platform. That's a little bit of my story, but let's go back to the the speaking engagement. So me wanting to travel, wanting to go different places, it was really about how do I expand my business? How do I make it make sense for me? And this is kind of how I built the economy of me being able to travel around the world, get paid to speak, get international clients, and be able to expand my network to a global database, leveraging the NASA platform. So the first thing is how to really make money speaking. So you guys, a lot of you guys put the dollar signs in there, and that's great. There's different types of speaking engagements. There's inbound and outbound speaking engagements. The outbound speaking engagements are when you are seeking a speaking engagement and you find a place to speak, you find someone that has an event, and you cold call and get those engagements yourself. And there's some things you need in place for you to be able to do that if they're going to decide to pay you on the other end or not. The inbound speaking engagement is when someone simply inquires on your website about you speaking and asks, hey, can you speak at this event? And you're able to give them your price and give them your retainer, and however crazy your retainer is, they'll accept it and you'll be able to go to speak because they seek you out to speak. The more you speak for free, the more clients you're exposed to. And I learned that. And then beyond that, I set up speaking goals around my lifestyle. I knew I wanted to, as I said, I wanted to travel. I wanted to grow my clientele base, and I simply wanted to make it make sense for me to get out there and speak to the world. So through step one, I got my goals. Step two was create a website, a speaker website that pretty much highlights what I've done, my blogs, my past events, and places I spoke to. And a lot of times people get intimidated about building a website, but it's very simple. You just need a good bio that talks about who you are and what do you do. So the whole time we're all cloud brokers. So I just explained that. How can I help you? I'm a cloud broker. I can help you manage these cloud services and speak on these cloud services. And then I selected three key topics. One topic being educational, where I didn't receive anything from the clients, but really gave them value on how to use my products and services. The next thing was how to use my product and services. And the next topic was how to take your business to the next level. With those three things, I was able to create a nice speaker website to then go out and get speaking inquiries. Now, it's not all good. You're not going to just get random inquiries and be able to speak for $5,000, $10,000 and go to Dubai, go to London, go to Tokyo, and just get asked to speak. You have to put in some work behind that. Some simple ways to do that is the first thing you want to do is start speaking at colleges and nonprofits. So I want to say this is one of my early speaking engagements. I simply went to a college and asked them, can I speak to their students about digital marketing and owning a digital marketing agency? At that point, I knew a little bit about how to lose an agency, but enough to give them a small speech on how to book a speaking, how to become an agency and make your agency scale. So the steps I did after speaking to the colleges and the nonprofits, one thing I did was talk to deans and organizers, talk to the organizers of the schools and the different deans of the programs, and then hire a social media intern that attends the school to do two things: take your photo and take a quick video of you. So you build that content library. And then the last thing is ask for a review. So I'm gonna share my screen here. You guys can still see it. So I just Googled USC. I'm in LA. But if you look at USC and you look in leadership, all the deans, all the information here is here. So everyone has their business email listed in their phone number. And it's a simple inquiry of sending them your speaker sheet with your page and saying, hey, I would love to come talk to your students about owning a digital marketing agency. Most of the times they say yes, sometimes they say no. But it's really about constantly reaching out to them to make sure you get that you get that answer, whether it's yes or no, but you're on their radar for speaking at their college. And what this does is it builds authority and builds up really good content of you speaking. It helps you practice your speaking, and it gets you engaged into an audience that is willing to learn, because anyone at a school or a college nonprofit is looking to learn with you and not against you. The next thing is leverage current events. Eventbrite, Facebook, Meetup, Toastmasters, Lions Club, and Rotaries Clubs are all good places where you can find really good events. So one thing I like to do is go on Meetup and type in digital marketing, and you can do this in any city, any place. And this is what I did in Tokyo. My first time going, I went to Meetup, found all the digital marketing events that were happening when I was coming, and I reached out to the organizer, and I simply sent the organizer an email and let them know that I'm a digital marketer. I would love to come to your event and participate. And here's my speaker sheet if you're ever doing another event and you want someone to speak. Another good source is Eventbrite. I always go on Eventbrite and type in digital marketing or whatever the subject is, find out what events are going on there, and go into the event, Digital Marketing Essentials. This is a free event. So something like this, and this is, it says AU, so I think this is still in Australia. Let's see. Okay, this is in Melbourne. So this is in Australia, but that's fine. You know, in a perfect world, there's no COVID. I want to go to Australia and have a good time. So you find events like this, reach out to the organizer, and because Vendasta supplies you with these free cool tools, you can simply say, hey, I would like to give all the members of your event a free tool software to allow them to monitor and manage their online reputation in one place. 9 times out of 10, that person will say yes. So after you leverage the current events, so you've spoken at schools, you've spoken at local events, and every time you've invested in an intern coming to gather your content, what you start doing is you capture that content. As you're capturing the content, and I don't know if it's going to play, but there's a video, we were able to build me going out and speaking at meetups, speaking at Eventbrite events, speaking on panels with representatives from other organizations like Yelp and things like that, to then doing our own full out digital conference in Tokyo. That video is not playing here, but I am prepared and I actually have it loaded up on YouTube. So after I spoke in Tokyo, after I was able to find different meetups, that was one of my latter videos. But if you're speaking and you're just getting started and you speak at a school and you have an intern come and do video for you, set up a tripod with your cell phone on one side, set up another tripod with your iPad on another side, set up another tripod with your camera on another side. Now you have 3 different angles where you're getting this content, and what you do is you repurpose this content and you take it to the next level, where then when you take this to the next level to go in and book more engagements, because now I've gotten that video and no one knows if I got paid or spoke for free, but they know that people were listening to me on that video. And to be honest, it was so long ago, I don't even remember what I said. But if you look at the presentation, if you look closely, all I did was download the presentation that was given to me by Vendasta and tweaked it a little bit to leverage and make more content. So as I took that formula different places, then I was able to really build up a good set of content of me speaking on different stages with different influencers, with different people. And I made sure that every time someone take a photo of me, if I didn't have a name badge on, I at least had my logo shirt on so that it was worth it. I didn't have to go get a photo shoot, and I have constant pictures of me speaking. Now, the last part of this is a little tricky. And this is how I would leverage all of my trips post-COVID. But booking a space on an app like PeerSpace, I'm a member of WeWork, so it cost me $25 to book a 20-person room. On top of me reaching out, you know, pick a random city, let's say it's Chicago, on top of me reaching out to meet up in Eventbrite and see what events were going on that I was going to attend, either speak at, not speak at, but at least show face and rub shoulders with the right people. I would also book a WeWork space and I would host a workshop. And on that workshop, I would price that workshop at $1,000. And I gave value with that $1,000, but the price of me getting there, my hotel, booking my space, we have a 20-person room. If you do digital ads with that, do the math. If 3 people showed up, it paid the cost of the bill, and I was able to then go in and leverage my other engagements, leverage the other events I was doing in that city, and then also inviting those folks to my events, inviting partners to my events. Like when I went to Chicago, I invited my rep from Active Campaign to my event so that they can see you and see what you're doing, and you're able to engage and participate with them. So definitely book a space. I don't know if you guys see my screen, but in the back, there is Sprout Social on here. I don't use that anymore, fully in the Vendasta system. So thank you. If you guys will take your cell phones out and scan that QR code right there, it will take you to my listing builder where you can actually give me a review and let me know how I did on this presentation. Some things I need to improve on this presentation. Just simply take your cell phone, take a picture, highlight it on there. It will pop up. It will bring you to my listing page where it says Joe, and just go ahead and give me a review so that I have that. And if you guys want to contact me or have any questions, let me know. And that's all I got for you.
Love it, Joe. I just went through the QR code, took me right there. That was slick. That was slick. Anybody else like how he did that? Yeah, you know what? I've seen restaurants even use QR codes to for people to pull up the menu now too. So there's a lot of different ways you can use that. I like that. And thank you for sharing your story. That's awesome. You know, going from a couple times doing the agency thing, and now congratulations. I remember that day whenever you signed your international client there in Japan, and I remember you traveling to Japan to meet up with them. Just want to say congrats again.
Thank you.
We'd love to hear from the group, right? We love this is what the community is all about. If anybody has any questions for Joe on speaking engagements, or would love to hear about your experience, with speaking engagements, does it align with what Joe was speaking about here? Pop some questions in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from others on the call here. Nobody else want to talk on their speaking engagements? So Wes asked, do you typically share the same content in most engagements?
Yeah, when I'm speaking for free, I 100% always do the Vendasta presentation, reputation management, that's on their resource center. every time I use that same speech because I know it like the back of my hand, and I know it converts. I know people ask questions afterwards. So if it's a custom presentation, then I can do something custom, like I scramble to do this. But if I'm going to speak for free, I genuinely just use that one topic. And I've tweaked the presentation multiple times to fit what's going on. But I make sure I use the same topic.
Nice. And that's really what, those presentations are. It's a good foundation. Make it your own. So it's good to hear that you're doing that. George Cartwright, I saw you unmute yourself for a second. Did you have a comment or anything?
I was just going to thank Joe for his presentation. I think it's something that I'm interested in doing, and I like the way that you did it organically. About how long did it take you to build up this repertoire of speaking engagements?
To build up, because we actually ended up doing an entire conference in Tokyo. That was my end goal, and I took other marketers out there. That took 3 years. But to build up to get paid speaking, that just took a year. I really just mapped out what cities I want to go to and where I want to have fun. But I also, on top of that, looked up where software partners that I work with were located. For example, Canva is in Australia. So I made sure to look up that. So when it comes to your calendar, it's really about strategically finding out. It's not like, oh, I want to go here because it's fun, but it's finding out what events are going on, what other businesses are there, and fully maximizing your trip where you have a lunch meeting. You take a few CEOs out to lunch, to eat, just to have coffee. I call it a cup of Joe. But invite them, slide in their DM and say, hey, I'm coming to your place. I'm coming to your city. I would love to meet with you. I think that part we can't be hesitant about, because that has helped me really grow my network by DMing people and inviting them to go ahead and come to my event, come have lunch with me, come get to know me, because then they become, they vouch for me later on after I speak. And then when I come back, it's like I have a set of friends there. Which ultimately helps you close an international client, because clients want to see a referral. They want to go with something they know. So I've gotten deals internationally simply because someone has heard me speak or someone's friend has heard me speak.
Nice. And do you use it as a business expense? So
100%. 100%. Everything is business. You want
absolutely.
Dinner?
I know.
You want to go to dinner tonight? Everything is business.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff.
Someone asked, do I do this in webinars too? So I was on track to going, and I got to the point last year where I was internationally speaking once a month and I was getting paid to speak. And then COVID happened. I am not the best at internet networking and networking on webinars and things like that, because like you guys, I have actual clients that have to be attended to, that I can't boast and do a lot of webinars at times. So I figured out a formula on how to implement that with webinars that I'm going to start putting in place. I talked to Ryan about it a little bit. He's jumped the gun and he's using it, and he's gotten a lot of speaking engagements for podcasts and things like that. So the system definitely works.
Nice. Urban, I see that you wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, Joseph, first of all, thanks very much. This has been absolutely fantastic. And congratulations on doing this. You've leveraged some very, very simple ideas, but, it's always the simple ones that are the best. And actually just outbounding to universities and nonprofits and say, hey, I'm a local marketer. Can I talk digital marketing to your people?
Yeah.
That was just, a great idea. And then getting an intern and paying them to take the video, 50 quid or whatever it is, $50 to take some photos. And that helps build authority. And so that's just great ideas. I was scribbling notes here furiously as you were speaking. So a couple of things. You were talking about a speaker sheet. What the hell is that?
So a speaker sheet is a one-sheeter with some photos of yourself, a bio, and maybe 3 topics. So we've gotten into so a speaker sheet is a speaker deck, Ryan. So a speaker sheet, if you're just getting started, you're not going to have a whole deck.
No,
you're going to just have your bio. You're going to have a headshot of you and 3 topics that you can speak on. That speaker sheet will grow into a speaker deck, and then if you're in the Think Conquer Local sessions, then now I'm actually turning my speaker deck into an entire personal brand manager where it has all the information there. Yeah. So if you're just getting started, I did this with it's just a 1-page speaker sheet that I designed in Canva, which is my photo, different images of me doing my free engagements, and then a brief paragraph about me.
Brilliant. I think that's fair enough. And you're right. Starting out, you're not going to have much, so just, link back to your blog post or whatever, anything that you've done, podcasts or interviews that you've been on. Yeah. And that's fine. So so you're doing speaking, and is that one half of your business, and the other half is serving local clients with the Vendasta platform? Is that what I understand, or are you 100% just speaking?
Absolutely. So I'll give you a prime example. Last year I went to Chicago. I'm a big shoe fan, so I went to go to Complex Con to buy some shoes. That's all I wanted to go for.
Right.
So my expense of going there, maybe purchasing some shoes, eating, just having a good time. I was there 4 days. So I look at it as, okay, I'm there 4 days. How do I maximize those 4 days? So I found one, there was a speaking engagement going on with about review management with Yelp on the panel. And I sent them my information, said I would love to come speak, no charge. And I actually paid to set up a booth and to have my products in the back. So I paid, it was only a couple $100 to speak and then have a booth there. So that was 1 day fulfilled and fulfilled with clients. So now I'm on the stage with a Facebook representative and a Yelp representative, but then I have the software to integrate them both.
So brand authority.
So the next day I took a visit to Active Campaign. And the whole time I'm vlogging about this stuff, but I took a trip to Active Campaign's office just to tour, just to see what's going on there and just get insights on how can I better use their software to help my business. And then I also booked a WeWork and had my own mastermind where I invited people to my mastermind. That's where I charge for. But through there, I would invite people, and every meal was not in vain. I always invited someone to breakfast, someone to lunch, and someone to dinner. So I had a full schedule when I was out there just to make sure that I was busy and the leisure time was spent still discussing business. Now, through that process, now I'm able to generate a lot of leads because now people want to work with me because they've seen the full value of what I've done in that city. And then that's where the platform comes in, and I give them access to the platform with a follow-up meeting to go in and take their business to the next level and see how we can work with them.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. I have loads of other questions, but somebody else probably asked too. But thanks, Joseph, for your time.
No, definitely.
And you can always email me. Here. Great.
You can always email me if you have questions.
Yeah. No, that's grand. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Great questions, Urban. Thanks for asking them.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And hey, I got, if you ever need any cool slogans, I see a couple people saying, a cup of Joe is very memorable, given your name. And I know, if you need any help with slogans, I know that, you also get a website from Joe Daddy. So
yeah,
he's great with slogans.
Don't go to GoDaddy, come to Joe Daddy.
Joe, you always have a smile on your face too, man. You look very happy to be look at that cup of Joe. You even have the cup branded.
I have my cup branded. Everything is branded.
That's awesome. Hey, let's give it up for Joe. Thanks, Joe, for sharing your story. Really appreciate it. Some fantastic insights. Really great ideas for getting started too. Something that came to my mind was just going on Eventbrite and looking at free things. And whatever you're saying, oh, look at this online event in Melbourne. That doesn't matter. I got these toolkits that I can connect with the organizer, and I have value to give. And like you said, 9 times out of 10, you're giving so much value there, and then you get to practice and refine, your pitch, your process, the way that you're conducting yourself. So I want to say kudos there. Really
There
great
was a
insights
question
and
to
ideas.
me about Lighthouse, if I could answer that one.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Sally, at that point, I did not have a Lighthouse. And to be honest with you, after I would have my meetings and I would do all these discussions and I would meet so many people, the hardest part afterwards was to generate a package to that client and close. So I wish I had a Lighthouse at the time, because I would have been able to scale 10 times faster and find more detailed events. So now fast forward with my new strategy, I do have a lifestyle, a Lighthouse, but at that time, no, I didn't. I was just a chicken without a head.
And what about packaging? You got packaging down now too, eh?
Yeah, I didn't have packaging down either. I just had services. Now I have packaging. So now it's a whole different strategy coming in place when I'm doing these talks to introduce the packaging right after the speech. And I think I told Ryan this the other day in the process, right after you have that client in their warm. And one thing I've noticed was clients were very, very eager to work with me right after I talk. They want to know right now, they're ready to pay right then and there. And I dropped the ball on a lot of people ready to pay, building a process where I have to follow up with them to pay.
That's awesome. Yeah, they're motivated in that moment, aren't they?
Very motivated.
So Sally, follow-up question from Sally. What is your Lighthouse now?
Restaurants.
Restaurants. Do you own a restaurant?
I do own a restaurant.
What kind of restaurant is it?
It's called Fishbone Seafood and Grill. Where's
it located?
We have 7 locations out here in Los Angeles. My particular location is in Long Beach, but we fry and grill fish. So if you think of Chipotle of fish, that's what we are. Hopefully we'll get to 100 locations via the marketing that we've been doing. But yes, I'm a restaurant owner. Restaurants are my lighthouse, and Affluent Solution
That's awesome.
is big on that.
Hey, Dennis, you've recently visited down there too. And I think you had some good things to say about the fish that you prepared for him.
I did actually cook Dennis his fish myself. I made him some catfish, red snapper, salmon, and some orange roughy, fried and grilled, some hush puppies, red beans and rice. He had all of it, and they ate it all. It's on his Instagram. This is his last video, so you can definitely check it. You can vouch for it.
Nice. Go check out Dennis Hugh's Instagram. This post to hear more about his visit with Joe Daddy there. Joe, thanks again. And Ryan, thank you as well. Fantastic presentations. And I saw Michael Donauer's comment, they go hand in hand, right? Speaking engagements and then having a process, content library to document things, to build that authority, to get more speaking engagements and connect with more clients and prospects. Before we log off here, I wanted to show everybody a new place that we can all connect and continue the chat. Urban, you said that a lot more questions, a lot of ideas might come from these chats. And so if you get onto the landing page for Conquer Local Academy, however you get here through the Partner Center or just through the website, and if you go into groups, we now have another group here. So we have Community Sessions group. So that's where you can pop in here and ask more questions, continue the conversation. We really want it to be a place to chat, maybe a little bit easier than the forum style that we had before. So check that out. We'd love to see everybody in there too. And then we also got the Dennis U Think Tanks, and we have that later today too. So hope to see everybody on there. But with that and the talk of all the fish and the amazing food that Joe cooks up, it's close to lunchtime here. So I think we're going to log off, and thank you everybody for spending time with us. And I hope everyone keeps well, stays safe this weekend. And, we'll see many of you on the think tanks later today. So thanks again to Ryan and Joe, and thanks everybody. We'll talk to you later.